The title does not lie. This is an urgent crash warning for Bitcoin and crypto. Over the last few, what feels like minutes, we've seen Bitcoin go from hanging on to a ton of relative strength versus the stock market to just giving up thousands of dollars. Now Bitcoin is currently trading, I'll just move my head, at about 79.9. And what you can see here, really importantly, is that we have this core support, which is at 77K, very, very close. There's no real major supports left before that. And so what we can assume is that Bitcoin is going to go and try to explore this prior support. Now, will it bounce there? Who knows? But this is what people are looking at, which is essentially Black Monday in 1987. And here's 2025. They look eerily similar. You have the complacency shoulder, and then you have this collapse. Now, what happened in 1987 was you had 3 consecutive really bad days, and then there was the weekend break, and then on Monday, everybody just sold. And many people believe that this could happen again tomorrow, and that is due in no small part to the fact that China has fired back on retaliatory tariffs, meaning that Trump's retaliatory tariffs, meaning that Trump's retaliatory tariffs, which you cannot say 10 times fast, I promise you cannot, or else you win all the money in the world. This is then going to create we're essentially in a trade war now. So what we're seeing now is that at first I thought maybe things couldn't get worse from April 2nd, Liberation Day. Now we're seeing that the retaliation to Liberation Day is probably going to bring things worse. And the question is just, when is this going to end? And we do not want to be in the business of getting hit by a truck. Again, we pointed out here that there had been a ton of relative strength as the SPX had been selling off and nuking like crazy over the last few days. And Bitcoin, it was pretty much just hanging out. It was mostly kind of going up from this low it had created several weeks ago. It was up about 10% from that. Well, not anymore. As we're going back to explore it, this relative strength argument has been reset tremendously. As I said here, it's Black Monday vibes in it. And unfortunately, that's just where we're at. So what am I doing to prepare for this? Because I think it's really easy to get emotional and say, oh no, this is going to get really bad. It's really, really scary. Well, I've been actually trading kind of both sides of this market. I find it quite liberating to take some shorts on in this market. I'll be talking a little bit more about my strategy on future videos. That's not the point of this video. But really the simplest way to actually get involved and prepare for something like this is to put in what I call stink bids, which is effectively where you go down and you look at the key levels that you want to put in bids on and effectively prepare for those levels. So instead of getting reactionary, you go ahead and say, okay, well, what would happen if Bitcoin came down to 73? Would I buy that? In my opinion, you'd be a fool not to buy the prior all-time high. Obviously, I think things could wick down a little bit below there, but I'm going to be looking at this zone here, right above the prior all-time high, as tremendous value zone. So I'm going to be putting in some bids at 75, at 74, and even some bids here around the high 60s, 69 to 65 range, because I believe those could get filled here with a little bit of a scare the heck out of everyone wick before we regain this range. If we are going to lose that prior all-time high range, right? If we are going to lose this particular range during this market move, if we do end up losing this 74K support, which is the prior all-time high pretty much, and 2024 prior all-time high. So there's just so much price action in this range that I would find it almost hard to believe that we would lose it. But if we're going to lose it, obviously 50K would be the next big line of support. And so what you want to do, in my opinion, is you want to just start thinking, okay, where do I want to bid? What coins do I want to bid? And start making that plan right now, which is partly, this is essentially the entire reason why I started saying, hey, I want to sell into any strength up here in this 93 sort of fake retest price action. The reason why we wanted to sell up here was so that we could buy down here, because eventually these prices will be looked at as generational entries into these assets. And what we said before is during a trade war, of course, Bitcoin becomes very, very interesting. Crypto becomes very, very interesting, but not instantly. Usually it takes a while for the shock and the fear to wear off and for the markets to start pricing in the next era. Right now, what we have is panic, confusion, uncertainty. No one knows where the chips are going to fall. But what I can tell you is this: if you really game out what's happening with tariffs, the idea that we're going to bring in like Nike shoe factories back to Kentucky and all of a sudden, kids are going to start going in there and stitching up shoes as a summer internship, it's silly. It's not realistic because it's so much more expensive to produce things in the United States that most goods will not actually be onshored. Will America actually start taking certain industries, working on them? Maybe we'll we'll take semiconductors or some really important critical industries, energy. We'll start producing a lot of stuff locally, but are we going to produce everything? That's just silly. And those aren't the jobs culturally that Americans actually even want. So there's a big gap. It's not just something you can fix with a snap of the finger and just say, oh, there's a bunch of these jobs that nobody in America is even signing up to do. And then beyond the time that it would take to build those factories. So I think we go back to understanding that the real effect of this is a grand renegotiation. I don't think we're anywhere close to seeing the end of that. So what I'm saying is Monday could be very, very, very gross. I just wanted to get a short video out here telling you what I'm doing, which is essentially I'm layering in stink bits, just saying, okay, if things like really get this crazy wick and there's a ton of fear, we might get a wick down here. We might get a wick lower. I don't know if it's all going to happen on Monday, but I'm making a very mechanical and simple plan as how I'm going to take the coins that I took off the market up here and put them back in the market down here, because everyone's going to be freaking out. And that's when life-changing buying opportunities happen. Pure and simple. We see the writing on the wall. Stablecoin legislation is coming soon. Very soon after, we're going to get market structure bills, and crypto has become a bipartisan positive issue in the United States. So whenever this liquidity crisis, this down market ends, crypto is going to have a golden era, and I'm going to be stacking up my chips while everyone's freaking out, but not in the middle zone, not in those middle zones. I'm going to be stacking at the extremes, which is what the whole point of this last few months of content has been about, has been saying, here's what's unpopular, but here's what I'm going to do. It's been very obvious. Trump wants the market to go down. My belief is that he's about to get his wish. If you guys like this more brief, time-sensitive updates, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe, because we're going to be doing a whole lot more of them as the market gets absolutely insane over the next few days and weeks. And I believe that this crazy shakeup we're experiencing is going to present the biggest opportunities for those who are on it, who are able to think logically, and who are able to plan ahead and act mechanically during these market collapses. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click on this one popping up right now, and I'll see you very soon in the next episode.